Hi everyone. So we have a full moon coming up. So I thought, full moon in the next few days, and I thought I would show you what I do for my full moon and also my new moon's ritual. So the first thing I do is sometime during the day, I will grab my healing cards, my healing oracle cards. You can get more information about these in my oracle video, but I'll be drawn. I have about 4 decks of healing cards. Spirit guides me to which deck I need to do some healing from. This full moon, I've actually been drawn to both of these decks. So then what I do is I will ask Spirit. I'll start shuffling the cards, and I'll ask Spirit, how many cards do I need for this healing session? And I may see the number 1, I may see the number 2, I might see the number 3. So say I see the number 2, I'm going to pull 2 cards. Okay. Then what I do, it's 43. So then I'll look at the meaning of card 43. Read the information on the card. And then each of these decks have a healing process, so then I'll go about doing the healing process. And I'll continue that for the next card. And then if it's another deck, I think I have to do 2 decks this time, then I'll do the same exact thing with the other deck. Okay, that's my first thing I do. And then throughout the day, I kind of wonder, full moon is all about, full moon represents endings, releasing, coming to end of projects, things like that. So I'll think of things that I want to release. New moons represent new beginnings. But for this full moon, I want to do some release work. So I get guided to do 2 different types of crystal gridding. So the first type of gridding I might do is, sorry guys, so first thing I'll do is I might be drawn to just use all my crystals. Not a specific type of crystal, just drawn to using them all. So when that happens, what I do is I get a permanent marker, a blank piece of paper, and I just do whatever. Generally, the shapes I'm guided to is a spiral. Fibonacci is a huge thing for me. I love the spirals. Yeah. So then what I do is I write my intentions. I'll just go on through. Increase intuition, release little programmings, release any blockages, and I'll go all the way around, writing out my intentions, okay? Releasing. So I'll go right out around all my intentions. Then once I'm done, I'll take my crystals and getting a couple of different ones here. And then as I lay them down on my grid, I'll read what I wrote because I want the crystals to know what I'm programming them to do. So I'll say increase intuition, release old programming, release any blockages, okay? And I'll do this all the way around, so eventually I'll have crystals going all the way around my entire grid, okay? This whole thing will be filled with crystals. I always do healing for Mother Earth too when I do this, so sometimes I'll be drawn to draw something little over here. And I'll usually use like petrified wood to grid it with. I'll have pieces of petrified wood, or I might even use a shell, anything of nature. Sometimes I will find acorns. I will put acorns here. Anything to represent Mother Nature I'll use and I'll set the intention to help heal the earth. So, okay. So this is one way that I'm guided to do grids. The next one that I do is I'll be guided to work with a certain crystal during that full moon or new moon. So what I'll do is say I'm guided to work with aragonites. There's this book put out by Robert Simmons, and I'm going to misspell her name, Naisha Asian. And I love this book. It's my go-to book. It's so dog-eared. But in this book, it'll actually tell you the spiritual parts of the crystal and what they're used for. So I'll go in here and I'll find out, why was I drawn? What is it the Spirit's trying to tell me that I need to release or work on? And these here, I just pulled these for an example. This here is saying they're powerful allies for healing and balancing the emotional body. So I may have to do some emotional body work in my field. I might have to do some kind of release with that. So I'll read this through. Whatever I'm drawn to, I put in my intentions, okay? Just remember, whatever you're drawn to, you know, whether it's one word, the sentence, that's what the Spirit is trying to communicate that you need to release, okay? The nice part about this book is if you have trouble setting intentions or affirmations, things like that, there's actually, Naisha actually, the one author, actually puts in an affirmation for you for majority of the crystals. And this one for the Raganites is, I create balance and harmony within myself as I go forward with the healing of my emotional body. So what I would do then is I get a piece of notebook paper, blank piece of paper, and I'll usually write out a title, Full Moon Intentions for June 4th, 2023. Then what I'll do is I start writing my intentions. I release any blockages in my emotional body. My emotional body is healed. I might even use the affirmation from the book. I might write, you know, I create balance and harmony within myself as I go forward with the healing of my emotional body. I usually do about 3 to 6 intentions. And then once I write down the intentions, then I repeat them. And I'll repeat all the intentions until this entire piece of paper is filled, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm programming my subconscious and telling my subconscious what it is I want it to do, okay? For me, this is what works for me. You may only have to do it once, you know? Everyone's different. So once I get that done, then what I do is I found this one video that really resonated with me, and excuse me, this I think it's do it better or do it for yourself. I can't remember. If I can find the videos, I'll link it down below. But she really puts crystals in a very easy understanding way. So the one video that I use for a lot of my grid work is a video where she talks about doing a grid of 7. So what you do, I'm so sorry, allergy season. So what you do is you take 7 things of the same object, okay? I usually like to keep my crystals all the same, but as long as there's 7 crystals, you're fine, per her video. If you have 7 beads, use 7 beads. It has to be the same object, if that makes any sense, okay? You can't do 1 crystal, 1 bead, you know. But then what she does is she talks about the shape of the triangle. And the triangle is part of our sacred geometry, and it represents the body, the mind, and the spirit, the 3 sides, okay? If it's pointing upwards in an upward motion, that's showing a rise in consciousness, okay? 7 is the number of perfection and unity, okay? It's a very big number. It's been around in history forever. You can find all sorts of examples of the number 7. You know, our moon, especially the moon lasts, you know, each phase lasts approximately 7 days. You know, in the Jewish menorah that symbolizes creation, you've got 7 candles. Ancient Egypt, 7 paths to heaven. There's 7 deadly sins in the Christian religion. Mithra, you know, 7 was also essential to the soul rising to paradise through the 7 planetary spheres. Even for Native Americans, for the Pueblo Indians, you know, number 7 represents the cosmic coordinate of man. So 7 is a symbol of the perfection and the unity. And it really resonates with me. So what this woman, in her video, she talked about doing a grid of 7. And I was like, wow, okay. And what happens is geometric shapes, circles, the octahedrons, whatever, they transfer energy and information through resonance. Okay? When you reach that resonance, you gain the knowledge of that shape. Okay? And that information is transferred to you. I hope that makes sense. So for me, I firmly believe I'm at the resonance of the triangle, because this works for me. I feel it when I use it. I get a lot of messages when I do the triangle gridding. And when I talk about the gridding, what she does is she places a crystal at each one of these points. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So what it's going to look like, your grid, you can turn it over so you can see it better. So you have your top one, you have your side, you have this one, whoops, you have this one, let me move this up so you can see it better, and then you have this one. Okay, so sometimes I'll just leave my crystal grids like this, but if I really want to amplify it, okay, quartz is an amplification stone. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll use quartz, or I'll use a tower. So I can't find my quartz tower to show you, but just to use this as an example, you'll see you have different towers, different kinds of crystals that are shaped. This is a red healer, so you can place that in the center if you wanted to. The amethyst. What I'm going to do for this one is we're just going to use, I really love using double terminated quartz, okay? So I put that in the center. Then what I do is I have a bunch of, I love these. These are my faves when I do grid work. I have a bunch of these little tiny double terminated and single terminated quartz. So what I'll do is I'll take the double terminated and I'll put it between the crystals. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to amplify this connection between the crystals, okay? I really want a really good, solid grid for it. Pouring that energy around, okay? Then what I'll do is oftentimes just to pull in some of Mother Earth, I'll have a piece of my petrified wood. I might put it down below. If I'm trying to work with the angelic realm, a lot of times I will use apophyllite at the top. I might put the apophyllite at the top, okay? As long as you have the triangle and there's 7 crystals, this is what works for me. And then what I do is I put my hand over. I want to kind of program these crystals to tell them what my intentions are. So I'll put my hand over, and as I have my hand over it, I'm visualizing, light coming from Source, Creator, coming through my soul star, coming down through my crown, through my heart, and then out through my hand. And as I'm doing that, I'm going over and I'm just saying my full moon intention. So these crystals know what it is that I want them to do. Then once I'm done with my intentions, I set it aside and I just sit. I'll just sit with the crystals. I'll just put my hand over them. And I'll just keep pouring energy into them. And it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll actually start to feel tingling in your hands. Okay? And it's kind of like a two-way street. If you're pouring love into the crystals, they're going to bounce back and give you love and support. So generally what I do is I'll put my hand over, and eventually I almost feel like a pressure, like I can't bring my hand down. Sometimes I get tingling in my fingers, up my arm, And then I know the crystal's working, it's doing something for me. So I'll just hold my hand there until I'm guided to move it. And then what I do is I'll just take my full moon intentions and I'll just leave it there. A lot of times I do my grid work outside so the moon can shine on it, or have the moonlight on it if it's a new moon. And then what I do is I might be guided to leave it out for a couple days, or I might be guided just to leave it out one night. When I'm done, and I'm done with my grid, I take my full moon intentions and I fold it. And as I'm folding, I'm saying, so be it. It is done. And then usually what I'll do is I'll light it, I'll burn it, so that this con is finished. I've achieved what I wanted to do with it. I'm done. So that's what I do for my full moon and also for my new moons. I will try to find that video of the lady that I love. I think it's Do It Better is the name of her video, it's her site. But if you have any comments and you want to add how you do your full moon, new moon rituals, place it down below. If you have any comments or experiences you want to share with me, my email is down below. And if you want an Akashic record reading, you want to find your soul's purpose, you want your galactic history, just email me too and I'll set you up for that. So everyone have a great day, and yeah, looking forward to this full moon.